Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, The Last 50. My name is Mary and I'm chronicling my journey to lose my last 50 pounds. If you haven't already, please consider a like and subscribing to my channel, and make sure you tap that bell so you get notified every time there's new content. Welcome to part 3 of how my morbid obesity ruined my body. If you haven't watched parts 1 and 2, I suggest you do if you're interested in body contouring or plastic surgery. Those two are going to be talking about, or did talk about, my brachioplasty or my arm lift surgery, skin removal surgery. So if you're interested in that or wondering about that process, please check those two videos out. They're linked on my channel. Today we're going to talk about my breast lift and augmentation surgery, which was probably the least eventful of all of my body contouring procedures. Just a couple of quick points before we get into it. Again, as I've always stated, I am a librarian. I am not a medical professional. I am happy to answer any questions you have about the experience, about having the surgery, recovering from the surgery, but any questions you have regarding health, complications with any kind of personal health issues or anything like that, I really suggest you seek the counsel of an actual medical professional. I would not feel comfortable answering those questions, but again, happy to talk about the experience as a whole. Also, while there'll be no graphic images or video of post-surgical sites or anything like that, there will be before and after pictures, which has a small amount of nudity in terms of I will actually show what they look like. I will block out some parts, but if that's something that you don't want to see, or if you don't want somebody who's with you or you're at work seeing, just know that that's also in this video. So, breast lift and augmentation. I was not thinking about getting a breast implants when I started this journey, but after consulting with my plastic surgeon, it became obvious that that was something that was going to have to happen. A breast lift is called a mastopexy, and it's basically when your surgeon will take some of your breast tissue, remove some excess skin, and lift it up so that you are not experiencing the sagginess from either weight loss or, just life, gravity, children, whatever, it is that you are not happy with, or what caused you to not be happy with your breasts. Having a breast lift can help tighten up that situation. The thing about my personal situation was that he was going to have to remove so much skin because of my weight loss that I would not have any fullness or roundness left in my breasts once he was finished. So I would, and it would not be proportional at all. So he highly suggested getting implants so that I could have a rounded breasts and have proportion restored to my body. And since that was my main goal of having my proportion to look more proportioned, to kind of get that profile back. I have been overweight my entire life, so my breasts were never in the correct area. They were always kind of sagging, and then having 2 kids, that also didn't help much, and being 42 also didn't help. So I had a lot of factors working against me in terms of just being able to get away with a breast lift. I definitely needed to have the implants. When having implants, you consult with your doctor. You can discuss what kind. I have silicone implants. I liked the way they felt. I liked the appearance of them. I was happy with the way that they looked afterwards. I did not like them in comparison to the saline ones. Just a personal preference. It's all up to you. You can talk to your doctor about the pros and cons of either. The other thing that you might want to talk about, or you probably will talk about, is placement of your breast implants. So usually when you're going for a breast augmentation, the surgeon can place your implants either above or below your pectoral muscles. There are pros and cons to both. in terms of how they appear, and how they settle. Because I weightlift and I have very pronounced pectoral muscles, my doctor chose to place my implants above my muscle so that I can continue to develop my muscles and not have an issue with my breast implants. That is pretty common for any kind of for women who are seriously into weightlifting. Above the muscle placement is pretty common for a variety of reasons. The con with that is that they kind of look like breast implants. They look more artificial than natural. Versus when you go under the muscle, they look more natural. I don't care, because it was pretty obvious that I was going to have breast implants. It was pretty obvious that no matter what I did, I had breast implants, because my breasts went from like being low to being like normal and proportionate. And so I had no concerns about whether I was going to look like I had implants versus whether I was going to look like I had natural breasts. It didn't really matter to me. What mattered was how I felt and how my body contour looked at the end of surgery. My surgeon went under my breasts to make the incision. Part of that is because of the amount of tissue that he also had to remove. So you can also go through the armpit. So there's different places that you can go. Mine again was under my breasts. And in general, when he does his procedures, this doctor typically makes the areola a little bit smaller than prior to surgery. Not a big deal. Didn't bother me at all. So that's kind of it. That's like what it is. So it's everybody kind of knows what breast implants are. Everybody probably knows somebody with breast implants. Having them above the muscle, they're kind of easier to place, or quicker, since you're not really you're not going in as far deep, and you're not cutting through muscle tissue, so the recovery is a little bit quicker, less painful. I had no pain regardless. I had really good pain management, so I didn't feel anything. Really nothing. I have no negative connotation with that entire experience of having this done. I did have one complication that is also related to the other half of my surgery, which we'll talk about in part 4 and 5. I did have my breast implants and my breast augmentation and lift done at the same time that I had a pretty much almost a full body lift tummy tuck. So I had massive surgery done at once. And I had 2 complications, one with each half of the surgery. With my breast augmentation and lift, this is completely something that was a possibility. It wasn't something that happened out of left field, something we discussed could happen. Again, because I had so much tissue to remove, there was always a possibility that I could have an infection develop in the suture areas, because if that's a common place, and that just sometimes happens because of how much is being cut, how much is being removed, etc., etc. So I did actually get a small infection under my right breast in the suture area. And what had to happen was that the sutures were opened, and the infection was cleaned out, cut out where it was necessary, and we chose to just leave the suture open. It wasn't a deep infection at all. It didn't go deeply into the tissue, which was great, because one of the things they checked for was to make sure that they could not see the implant with the suture open. If it went that deep, they would have had to remove the implant, and we would have to have done it again. But since that was not the case, it was more of like a superficial infection. We just kind of left the sutures open. We packed it, and kept cleaning it, and it closed naturally, and it looks fine. So that was kind of the only wrench that got thrown in with that procedure. When you go to have your surgery, they're going to ask you to bring some kind of compression garment or sports bra. They do sell compression garments that are specific for breast augmentation surgery. I just went with a sports bra. I use the Enel sports bras. I like them because they give pretty tight compression. Also, they have hook and eye down the front, so you definitely want to make sure you have something that closes in the front, whether it's a zipper, hook and eye, however it is. You don't want to go overhead or in the back. It's probably best to just have something that goes in the front. You're going to keep that on probably for several days, if not a week. You'll have dressings underneath the area, underneath where the sutures are, and you're just going to basically have them checked and keep that area clean. At some point, you're going to be told to wear a bra constantly. And when I say bra, I mean like a sports bra or some kind of bralette, nothing with underwire, just to have some support on the suture area. At least that was my experience, that we had to do that. I had to do that. So how it was explained to me was that it takes about a year for them to settle. So when I first got them, they were like up here, literally, because you're swollen and things are trying to settle, and like they slowly kind of settle into place. And I was told it takes about a year, and at some point, maybe 6 months in, they're gonna fluff out. And I really had no idea what that meant, and I thought that was hysterical. And kind of a weird way to describe it, but they actually kind of, I don't know if fluff is the right word, but they kind of go into position, and you're like, it seems almost like your breasts get a little bit bigger because they're like in the right position, and they kind of now are standing out more. This is probably a good place to insert some before and after pictures, so I will do that right now, and you can see just how much tissue needed to be removed, how low my breasts were sagging, and just basically how if he was to just do a lift, there was really no tissue there to add any kind of volume to my breast. And then the after picture, you can see a much better profile, a much better front facing kind of contour. Just very happy with the way the proportion came out. So I went from a 48C to a 36 triple D. When it comes to cup size and how big you should go, it seems that the doctor can take some measurements and kind of suggest a range of a low end and a high end based on your frame. I went with the higher end, and part of me kind of almost feels like I should have went a little bit bigger, because to me they don't look big, but apparently to other people they look huge. I don't know. But I'm just so used to my breasts looking a certain way now, like seeing them, I'm just like, this is so weird, but it's also pretty awesome. I really love the way it turned out. Same kind of situations apply with the other surgeries. You're going to take, you're going to do the antibacterial shower the morning of, once you get cleared for, to be able to shower, get everything wet. It's just basically keeping everything clean. I kept doing antibacterial showers until pretty much everything was healed and closed up. My husband was helping me. Yes, lifting up your arms a bit is kind of a little bit difficult and may be painful. I didn't have any pain, but they don't recommend doing a lot of like pushing or pulling overhead while you're recuperating. It was about, so this is where things kind of got a little off. So normally it's between a 4 to 6 week recovery, and that means like fully healed sutures and things like that. Most people actually return to work before that, in that early in that window. Because I had the infection in my breast and I had other complications from my body lift, what went from a 6 week recovery ended up being like a 3-month recovery, if not a little bit longer. So my experience is not typical. You know, it's not typical because of the complications. It's also not typical because I don't think most people get, when they do breast augmentation surgery, they're probably not getting a tummy tuck body lift at the same time. I was just like, if I'm going under, let's just do all of it at once, and get it done. Cost, breast augmentation surgeries, probably around $3,000. And then add on top of that all the doctor, facility, anesthesiologist fees, stuff like that. It comes out to roughly around $6,000. Again, we paid out of pocket for everything because my insurance did not cover it. Insurance does cover breast augmentation or reconstructive surgery in certain cases. So I believe if you have breast cancer and have to have surgery that way, or a mastectomy or stuff like that, or something like that, they usually will cover that. But if you're doing it, they probably also cover breast reduction surgery. Again, this is something you got to talk to all insurance companies are different. You probably want to talk to them, but if you're looking to have to pay out of pocket, expect that to be the cost. The implants themselves are about probably $1,200 each, which was interesting to me to see that. But yeah, so that's what the cost is looking like. Recovery wise, yes, there's going to be some swelling. You're going to wear that like tight compression garment to keep that under control. And then, you know, once it kind of goes down, you'll probably be in sports bras. I liked the Soma bralettes. They have wire-free, very soft bralettes that you do go overhead on, that are not a problem to get on, and we're comfortable. Whatever you wear, it's probably going to feel tight around the chest area. So I just shoved lots of gauze pads underneath there to make some padding, and that really helped. Again, the pain medication helped. I did not have any pain throughout any of this experience, so I had very good pain management. Showering was not an issue. I slept a lot. Again, as I talked about with my brachioplasty, fatigue was a big thing with the surgery, especially with this one, because of the fact that my body really had a lot of healing to do because of the complications. So expect there to be fatigue. Your body's going to be healing a lot, and trying to, you know, put all its energy towards getting you healed up. So, you know, there might not be a lot of pain, but you expect to be tired from it. Rested in a recliner with feet up, kept my feet elevated, kind of kept myself laying back like this a little bit, which was suggested to me. And that was it. Like, this was the most boring surgery I had. There was nothing exciting about it. I'm extremely happy with the results of it. In terms of sensation, obviously when they're cutting nerves again, the sensation came back pretty quickly. I was numb for probably, I would say, the first 4 or 5 months, and then it seemed very quickly the sensation in the nipple area came back. Like, it didn't seem like it came back like, you know, a little bit at a time. It just seems like one day it just happened, and it was very sensitive. It went from being extremely sensitive for a couple of weeks to then just kind of being normal. In terms of how it feels as that happens, you'll feel like it's again the same thing I described with the arms. It's like little kind of like electric lightning bolt kind of feelings. You know, you're like, it's just kind of like maybe little shocks of pain, nothing really harsh, nothing really severe. If you've had children and you've been pregnant and you know that kind of feeling of your breast kind of getting ready to breastfeed and like changing and kind of having that kind of those kind of shocks of pain and, like, you know, the soreness, that's kind of what it felt like with the nerves coming back. I had it done in December of 2018, so we're almost coming upon a year. So we're about 10 months out. I have almost complete sensation in both breasts back, both nipples back. No pain. They've settled pretty nicely. They're still going to be settling. Probably not. I probably won't see the completely finished look until January, which is fine. Again, I am extraordinarily happy with them. It's wonderful to see my profile and see my body proportion the way it should be. If I had to do it again, I'd do it again in a heartbeat. Find a good surgeon. I had the same surgeon as my prior surgeries. He took very good care of me. I went back the next day, and then 3 days, and then pretty much every 3 days until my infection really started clearing up and the complications from the other surgery also cleared up. So again, my experience in that sense is not typical because I had some major complications with the body lift. Nothing terrible, just stuff that kind of made it annoying, uncomfortable, and prolonged the recovery. Which we'll get into in my next video when we talk about my body lifts. And I think with that one, we're going to split that in half. We're going to talk about the actual procedure and prior to the procedure in one video. And in the second video, we're going to talk about the recovery because the recovery was a hot mess. So, and that's going to take a whole unto itself. But that is my breast augmentation and breast lift experience. I was back to weightlifting probably, 5 months after, not even, probably less than that. I would say maybe between 4 and 5 months after the surgery, I was cleared to go back to the gym, and with no issues with lifting. I had no issues doing any kind of chest exercises, any kind of chest pushing, pulling, nothing. No complications, nothing bothered it. I didn't notice anything. I still haven't noticed anything. So in that sense, it's been really successful and kind of just hasn't affected my life in any way other than needing to buy new bras and looking different in clothing. So there it is. Like I said, the most boring part of my body contouring surgeries. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me on any of the socials listed below. Leave a comment here. I'm happy to discuss this. Again, I will be recording my next video, which will start the 2 parts on my almost full body 360 lift tummy tuck. So you'll probably want to stick around for that, especially if you're somebody who's lost a lot of weight and has a lot of excess skin in that area. That's one that you're probably going to want to hear about. So I highly recommend and encourage you to subscribe and tap the bell for notifications, because you're probably going to really want to see that one when it comes out. Again, thank you all for watching. I hope you're enjoying this and at least finding this helpful and informative, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye.